Hi there, welcome to Knitting Daisy. Daisy is a knitted embroidery element which is knit in line with the round or the row, and it looks like this. It's rounded and can be used for a variety of projects. What you see in here is a baby blanket, and I incorporated Daisy in that baby blanket. Here I have Daisy incorporated into this cute little hat. This hat uses sport weight yarn and is knit for a girl size. The same hat in here uses a DK weight yarn and same instructions as the previous hat, and it is for an adult size. Again, it's the same element. Daisy is the same. This is how it looks like on the right side. And when we flip it with the tails correctly tucked in within the loop, and it looks very similar on the back. And the advantage of this, it makes the design element reversible. For the projects that we just saw, Daisy was worked in the round. I'm going to show you how to work Daisy in the round. I'm using a swatch, 13 stitches, and I'm simulating working in the round. To simulate working in the round, you knit one row, then you move the stitches all the way to the right needle tip, or that tip that used to be on the right. Then you just take your working yarn, make a long float in the back, just bring it to the front, and then you begin knitting. Before I begin the demonstration, Daisy is worked on 5 stitches over 6 rows. I have these stitch markers outlining the 5 stitches where I'm going to work Daisy. You can make the swatch as large as you wanted, but for today's demonstration, or for this video, I'm just going to work it on this 13 stitch swatch. Again, I'm taking the float in the back, the long float, so I'm able to begin in here, and I'm going to begin with row number 1. Row 1, and if you have the instructions, you knit 2 stitches and you slip 1 stitch with the yarn in the back, then you knit 2 stitches. Again, I'm only concerned with the 5 stitches for Daisy. So here is my row number 1. I'm going to move my stitches to the right needle tip to begin row number 2. So I've knit here to the first stitch where I'm going to make the bottom part of Daisy. I start that with making a loop 5 over this first stitch. I move my working yarn to the front and over the needle. I'm going to make the loop over this stitch and the working yarn. So I bring my flower color in the back, and to make the loop 5, I knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1. So here I've got the first loop 5 for the Daisy bottom. Then I am going to knit this stitch with the main color, but at the same time I want to trap this yarn underneath this main color yarn. So this is the flower color yarn. I want to trap it underneath this color on this stitch. To do that, I insert my needle as if to knit, wrap the yarn from wrap the flower color yarn around the needle from bottom to top, then loop my main color yarn normally. Then I take this off like that, the needle, then I bring this back. So basically what happens is this yarn is trapped underneath, and I have it available to work the next stitch. If you are a traditional knitter, to trap this yarn, you do something similar. So basically, this is your main working yarn already within the loop. Just pull on it a little bit, by the way, so that there is no slack. Take the flower color over the stitch, like that. Knit the stitch normally, like this. Then bring this yarn over the main color yarn and just release the stitch, like that. So it's strapped similarly like we did it when we were doing the continental style of knitting. So here I've got my main working yarn, my flower color, and I'm ready to make my next loop 5 in here. But remember, this stitch was slipped, so we have a float in the back, this float in the back. Because we want this stitch to be reversible, we want to hide this float. So I will lift it over the needle, and I will also take my main working yarn, I put it over the needle as well, and when I am making the next loop 5, I will make it over all 3 loops in here, the main working yarn, the float from the back, and the stitch. Insert the needle like this, and I make my next loop 5. So here is my next loop 5. Next, I want to knit this stitch with the main color, and I want to trap the contrast color or the flower color. Again, continental way, loop the yarn as if you're using it to knit, but then also loop the main color yarn, then bring this down like this, and the yarn is trapped underneath. Let me demonstrate it one more time for the traditional knitters or the English style knitters. So you're holding your yarn in your right hand, your main working yarn in the right hand. Bring the flower color yarn over that, hold it to the left, knit the stitch, then you can lift it off, that's okay, but bring this main flower or this flower color yarn over and to the right, over the main color and to the right. So here we go, it's strapped, and now we're ready to make the next loop 5. So here I lift the main color yarn over the needle to trap it in the process, and I make my next loop 5. Here we go. We worked the second row of the daisy pattern, and we made the bottom of the daisy. Next, I'm going to, on the next row, which is row 3, I'm going to gather all of these loop 5s into a knit 15 together to form the center of the daisy, or at least the bottom center of the daisy. In the process, I am going to move this stitch to the right within these 5 loops in here, within that first loop 5, and this stitch in here to the left, to the outside, also within this last loop 5. Let me show you how to do this. Again, simulating working in the round. Work this English style. Alright, we're to the first loop in here. So as I mentioned, I want to move this stitch through this loop 5, or the 5 loops, through the center of that and to the right. So I'm going to increase the insert my needle knitwise through the 5 loops. I'm going to go through the back of this as if to knit, because I'm going to knit it. So I'm gonna go through it like this and just knit that stitch and release it off the needle. You see how it's through the first 5 loops. So that's the first step. Then I'm going to transfer these 5 loops onto my right needle tip. Going to transfer the next 5 loops into my right needle tip. Then I need to transfer these 5 loops before I'm able to knit 15 together, but I need to take care of this stitch first. So as I am transferring these 5 loops, I'm going to let this stitch slide through the center of these loops and to the left, just like that. So here we go, we have the stitch safe in here. We'll work the stitch after we do this knit 15 together through the back loop. I'm going to loop my working yarn over my right needle tip, and then I'm going to hold on to this stitch a little bit with my thumb, like that, and I am going to go transfer the 5 all of these stitches, 5 stitches at a time, or all of these loops, 5 loops at a time, over this yarn that I just looped on my right needle, just like that. Here we go, and that's how we do the knit 15 together through the back loop. So I've, oops, I don't want to lose this stitch. So I've done that. Then with my main working yarn, I will knit this stitch that I just passed through that last loop 5 and finish my row. So here is row 3 where I've knit the first stitch. I have gathered all of these 15 loops through a knit 15 together through the back loop, and I've knit that last stitch. You'll notice now I have decreased the number of stitches by 2. That's okay for now. I am going to, when I do the top of the daisy, we will be increasing the daisy stitches by 2, and that will even out. So let me work the next round. So on the next round, and that's round 4, again I'm simulating working in the round. I'm going to go back and work in continental style, and remember I am having this long float in here, let's not forget about that. I'm knitting to the marker here. Basically what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to do an SSK, because I am going to leverage the center of the knit 15 together and this float in the back. See if you can see it, this float in the back. This is the float where I'm going to create my loop 15 to form the top of the daisy. So I will slip 1 knitwise, slip 1 knitwise, and knit these 2 through the back loop. This is an SSK. So here we are. The top of daisy is going to be made with the flower color, but before I do that, again I'm going to make it over this float. So I'm going to lift this float that was in the back. Let's not confuse it with the working yarn. So this is the float. I'll put that on the working needle. I'm sorry, I put that on the left needle. Then I'm going to bring this flower color over the needle and to the front. It's important that we do that because otherwise this yarn in the back is going to go across like this and it's going to look ugly. Now for a hat that's not reversible, it's okay. But if you're working a baby blanket or a shawl, you don't want that. So we'll bring this over. And then we have one more thing to do before we begin. We want to take the main color working yarn over the needle like we did with the loop 5. And we will begin working the loop 15. And that is knit 1. It's my first knit 1. Yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, knit 1, and I repeat this process until I have 15 loops. Now One thing I like to do, because I don't want to stretch this hole, make this hole really big, I release these off of the needle. See, I've got this opening in here. And I continue making my loop 15 like this. So this is not overstretched and this opening here is not too big. I've got so far 2, 4, 6, 7. Yarn over. 9. 11. 13. And 15. So here we go, we've got 15 loops. Now, so one other thing I'd like to do is I like to give this working yarn a bit of a tug. I just tug it because I don't want it to be loose. And then I continue, I'll do this knit one for the daisy and continue working my row. So here we are, we finished row 4 and we made the loop 15 to form the top of daisy. Now the next row, which is row 5, what I'm going to do, again, remember I'm working in simulated working in the round, so these are rows for me, but I am leaving a long float in the back. So I begin every row on the right side with a long float in the back like this to simulate working in the round. So here I am on row number 5. And what I want to do is I want to separate this big loop 15 into 3 loop 5s like this. And I also want to move this stitch to the left to make, like in here, to make a space between this loop, the first 5 loops and the second 5 loops. And I want to move this stitch to the left to separate the last 5 loops from the middle 5 loops. In essence, what I'm doing is I'm working the bottom part of daisy in reverse. Let me show you how to do this. I knit up to my marker. So here I've knitted up to the marker. So the next thing I want to do is I want to move this stitch to the left so I can knit together the first 5 loops. So here I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 right here. And there are 2 ways to do this. I can insert my needle into all 5 loops to knit them together, which I can do just like that. And as I am releasing these 5 loops off of the needle, I want to make sure this first stitch goes through the center and stays on the needle. So just going to do it like this. So here we go. So that's one way. The other way, if you find this process difficult, I'll show you how to do that. The other way is to transfer these stitches first to the front. So I just insert my needle knitwise into all 5 of them, and I just move them gently over this, so the stitch goes through the center. Oops, what's happening here? Just like that. Here we go. Then I put them back on the needle, and then I knit them and insert the needle knitwise. Oops, I have the wrong yarn in here. To knit them together, just like that. And this stitch is still here available for me to knit next. So I'm going to knit that next to create that separation. Next is the next 5 loops. I'm going to transfer knitwise. As with this one in here, it's going to be 1 row above. So like this one was 1 row below. This is going to be worked one row or 1 round above. So I'm going to slip those knitwise with the yarn in the back. Then I'm going to knit this next stitch in here. As I did here, I'm going to insert my needle through the 5 loops like this. Grab that stitch and knit it. And release it off the needle. See that? It's there. It's knit and release off the needle. Then I'm going to knit these 5 loops through the back loop. So I insert, I'm going to knit them together through the back loop. So I insert my needle through the center and knit them through the back loop. We separated these the loop 15 into 3 5 loops each, and we finished this row. And that was row number 5. I'm working the last row of Daisy, getting to the marker where my Daisy starts. I knit the first stitch, knit the second stitch, then I'm going to knit together these 5 loops, the flower color loops. But I also, when I slipped this on the previous row, I left a float in the back, this short float in the back. I like to lift this float and put it on the needle. And when I knit these 5 loops together, I like to capture this within that as well. So you see, really in essence, it looks like I'm knitting 6 together. So I just insert my needle and knit all of these together. You'll notice I've got the center now of the center loops from the loop 15. And then I continue knitting until per instructions. Here we are finished with Daisy. I'm going to work a couple more rows, and I'm going to show you how to weave in the tails on the wrong side of the work. Here I've worked a couple of more rows to make it easier for me to show how to weave in the tails in the back. Also, when I turn in here, you'll notice that I have these floats in here, the main color floats in the way. I'm actually going to cut those so it's easier for us to see how to weave in the tail yarns. You'll notice how it looks kind of similar to the front. Not quite, especially on the top part, but it looks pretty close. So I'm going to show you how to weave in these 2 tails so that you keep it clean. And as let me show you, like on this hat, you'll notice how this is the wrong side of the hat, and you'll notice how they are very clean. So if I have this element as part of a shawl or a blanket, then it looks really nice on the wrong side as well. It doesn't matter which tail you start with, just start with any. You'll notice here I've got this one, this is the bottom part of the loop. I'm going to actually weave it underneath and through all of this and around like that, so I can close a little bit this opening in here in the center. So I'll come over to the center in here and go through the bottom, underneath and through, so it doesn't show on either side of the work. It's not showing on the wrong side, and if I flip to the right side, it doesn't show either. So take it this way, and I'm going to go through like that. And be careful not to over tighten the yarn. You want it to keep it in here conforming to this shape, so just be careful with that. And whoops, and then go around the top part again through the center, underneath, and not showing on either side. I want to keep it a little bit longer, and I'm going to tug on it slightly, not to overpower it, but slightly. See how the center hole closed? And I'm just going to go one more time through here, kind of to the center, like that. And now I'm actually ready to cut this yarn, so I'm going to cut this yarn. And then next I'm going to tuck in this other tail from the top, and I'm actually going to go behind this this float in here. So again, similarly through around the center like that. Cut this a little bit more so it's not popping. And to the top. And a little one more to the bottom like this. Here we go. We finished this, and I'm going to cut this yarn because I don't need it anymore. Here we are. We have the finished daisy on the wrong side, and if I flip to the right side, and this is daisy on the right side. I hope you find this video useful. Until next time, thank you for watching and happy knitting.